As our future entrepreneurs, skilled workers and young professionals, you will become the backbone of our society. The services you'll be providing and the taxes you will be paying will be supporting all of us, young and old. A recent survey by Mission Australia has found that although 8 in 10 of you feel that achieving career success and being financially independent are highly important, only 6 in 10 feel these aspirations are achievable. Stress is the issue of greatest personal concern. In the context of the current economic climate, these feelings are understandable, as it is already hard to get work. But as someone who started out just like you finishing Year 10 at Taroona High, I'd like to share some of my experiences in the hope that they'll help you along the way. But first, I thought I'd give you a rundown of what I've been doing in the last 12 months. I work in South Australia as a speech pathologist and researcher. I have a special interest in a condition known as progressive supranuclear palsy, or PSP for short. What is PSP? No, it is not a PlayStation Portable. PSP causes a range of symptoms, including falls, speech and swallowing difficulties, sleep disturbances, anxiety, depression and incontinence. An abnormal protein in the brain causes cells in different regions of the brain to die. So on MRI, atrophy of the midbrain can create a hummingbird sign, like you might see in the top left picture there, in the brainstem there's a hummingbird. PSP is a progressive neurological condition, which means that the symptoms get worse over time. It affects adults over the age of 60 years, and the life expectancy is 5 to 7 years after diagnosis. Dudley Moore is a well-known actor who had PSP. As a speech pathologist, I often see people affected by PSP as they have difficulty talking, eating and drinking. When I first started working with them, I realised there was very little awareness of the condition or information out there about services that could help. This drove me to publish papers, write letters to the editor, organise expos, write web pages, and with neurologists, nurses and those affected by PSP, write handouts to raise awareness of the condition and services available to assist, including where to find equipment, information and therapy to help improve quality of life and prevent and avoid preventable hospital admissions. I'm really enjoying my work as it is both rewarding and challenging. However, finding the right career for me wasn't always smooth sailing, and to be honest, there were days where it felt more like this. To quote Eminem, who does actually have some quite good quotes, you should check them out sometime. The truth is, you don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. Life is a crazy ride, and nothing is guaranteed. Like how the presentation evening was meant to be last night. Yeah. Back when I was in Year 10, finding my ideal career felt a lot like attempting Mount Everest. I made the mistake of thinking that if I planned my studies carefully enough, I would get to be where I want to be much quicker. I worked hard to get into medicine, but it was only once I started the course I realised the study would be long, hard and gruelling. The saying goes that medicine is the right career for you if it's everything you want in the whole world. However, for me, it took having a go before I was able to work that out. I then looked at dentistry, as the study is restricted to the 5-year degree. I began working as a dental assistant to find out more about the job. I learned that it was hard on the body and you had to take good care of your hands, which, to be honest, I was not very good at doing. So when I found myself in Melbourne doing speech pathology, I found that it was a career where I could potentially help people but enjoy the 9-to-5 lifestyle. It was hard work living in a new city away from home. I lived on campus accommodation initially, but once I was confident to live in a share house, it was much cheaper. The Nursing and Allied Health Scholarship and Support Scheme was a big help. When I finished my degree, I'd had enough of Melbourne and moved to Adelaide with my partner Ben. I was optimistic about finding work, however I soon realised it was going to be tough. It was disappointing and somewhat depressing, relying on Centrelink to get me through, and then working in a job that didn't need a degree and was dead boring. I felt like my motivation was draining away. So I spent some time focused on finding new hobbies, making friends and catching up with old ones. So yes, 3 of the people up there are the people that I finished Year 10 at Taroona High with. And remembering the activities that I enjoyed doing for myself. In hindsight, it was an important phase of my life, and if I had one piece of advice, it would be work out right now what your downtime activity is, and make time to do it on a regular basis. That is something that you can't just put off for later. I was able to get my mojo back, and began networking my little heart out. You would not believe it, but when my big break came, it was down to a 2012 copy of a Speech Mark catalogue. I phoned up a speech pathologist and asked if she wanted to meet me for a coffee, for the sole purpose so that I could update her on a conference and give her the latest copy of Speech Mark. Don't get me wrong, I felt like a total dork the whole time I was on the phone to her. However, it did the trick, and 2 months later when a job came up at her work, I was the first person she thought of. That saying of getting your foot in the door rings true, and since then, getting jobs has been progressively easier. So remember, when finding the right career for you, take time to enjoy the views along the way. Don't be alarmed if at times it feels you're doubling back. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, look at changing to something else. That experience has not been a waste, and you will use it in future. The main thing is that you challenge yourself. So this is me at Tough Mudder on Saturday, and I had 2 people ask me what PSP was, and I got to tell them all about it while I was running along in the mud. It's fun. The other thing is to work with others, to help each other through. And lastly, is have fun along the way. Thank you.